G.K. Chesterton once wrote, "If you look at something 999 times, you're perfectly safe. But if you look at it for the 1,000th time, you're in danger of seeing it for the first time." During this Lenten journey, we're going to look at the cross for the first time through the lens of Christ. The cross is an inverted sword. The Romans saw it as a weapon, and yet Christ sees it as a very counterintuitive weapon in which you use the force of one's enemy against itself. So I made a 30-day journey once into the desert and the high deserts out in Wyoming. And you need to bring 3 things with you or else you'll die in a very short period of time. First is water, the second food, and the third is a weapon. Spiritually, as we go into the desert, we need to bring water, but we need to bring the baptismal grace of water that we've received. We need to be renewed in that grace. So the sacrament of confession provides that. Every time we receive absolution, we're brought right back to that moment of our baptism. We're spiritually hydrated. Our ears are cleared as they were anointed at baptism. We can hear that still small voice guiding us. So the water of baptism through confession is needed, is essential throughout Lent, especially at the beginning of Lent and at the end of Lent. The second thing is food for our journey, the Eucharist, daily Eucharist, if we really want to enter into that spiritual combat and not be defeated. The Eucharist, when we receive it, it strengthens us. It's not so much that we receive the Eucharist as it consumes us into the heart of Christ. And finally, the weapon that we need is that of the Rosary. When we hold the Rosary, we hold our Blessed Mother's hand, who is the woman of Genesis, the woman of Revelation, who crushes the head of the serpent. When I went into the desert, I brought shotguns because of wolves, lions up in the mountains, mountain lions, and potentially bears. But those weapons are useless. The only weapon that we can bring with us is the weapon of the cross. And when we pray the Rosary, we enter in to that spiritual reality of taking one's enemy and using the very force, the very strength of one's enemy against itself, that they fall on that sword of the cross. So I encourage you again during this time of Lent to go to the sacrament of reconciliation, the sacrament of confession, to immerse oneself into the waters of baptism. Bring with you every day the strength of the food for the journey of the Eucharist, and finally bring the Rosary, that weapon, that inverted sword in which we gain victory through entering into the life of Christ. God bless you.